Let me introduce you to the newest member of our fleet here. This car just arrived at Mercedessource. Earlier today, I texted Kaya a picture. And I made the comment, hey Kaya, do you think there's any other 73-year-old guy in the world that would get as excited about a gas door as I am right now? This is amazing. Now this is just a sneak peek at why I'm so excited about this car here. Oops, sometimes when you're shooting a video you make these errors. This is not a gas door, this is a fuel door. Remember, this is a diesel car, sorry about that. But watch this as I open this up. Look at that. Now, you may say, well, what's so special about that, Kent? Well, if you've been around these old diesels, you hardly ever see a fuel door this clean. I mean, they're all stained with diesel, and they're rusty, and you know, the cab plating's gone, and the rubber stopper's all broken, and the cap's all corroded. But this fuel door assembly and this 240D is quite special for being all original. But I'm going to take you back 40 years ago. Yes, that's right. The year was 1980. I had just come back from New Guinea. I'd been flying as a bush pilot out there. I had not been around cars for over 8 years, but I was still a car guy at heart. So I ended up going to the Pamona Swap Meet in 1980 in Southern California, and I was walking up and down the aisles. If any of you have been there, you know you can walk for miles looking at cars. And I walked by this white car, and I remember I was walking and I stopped, and I turned around and looked. And I don't do that very often with foreign cars, okay? I was into, you know, American cars, hot rods, and so on. And I'm looking at this white car, and I come up to the windshield, and it says, 1978, Mercedes 240D, 4-speed, $11,000. I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of money. But I also remember standing back, and I literally remember this like it was yesterday. I was so enthralled with the aesthetics of this car. I remember standing back and saying, wow, that is really an attractive car. And I was thinking, whoever designed this car, and I remember this is 40 years ago, whoever designed this car really was good at design. And this was the first time in my life I ever really noticed a Mercedes-Benz. And here it is, 40 years later, in rolls, it's a 1983, but it is a white 240D 4-speed with a blue interior. The other car had a blue interior slightly different, but I cannot believe it. It was like, what? The very first Mercedes I ever really noticed in my life has literally come home to roost. But this car here is something else, and you're going to get to watch the rolling restoration of this car over the next month or two. It's going to be very special. It only has 129,000 miles on it. Those of you who've been around diesels, you know that's extremely low mileage for a car this old. It's fun to drive, it's got good power. I was going to call it White Lightning, and somebody laughed at me and said, Kent, why are you calling a 240D White Lightning? And I know this name probably won't stick, but really, this is the fastest 240D I've ever driven. When we get around to it, I'll take you out on a road trip and kind of show you why. But I want you to come up and take a look at the engine compartment. Look at that engine, isn't that amazing? I mean, we did a little pressure washing, but we haven't really detailed the engine compartment yet. And look at the body and look at the shine. Now this wasn't like it was when it arrived. When I do a rolling restoration, one of the first things I do is make the car look pretty. And I know you're looking at the trunk there, and notice I took all the emblems off, I took all the side trim off, and we've taken a power buffer to this. We're not done yet. But look at the paint shine in this car right here. I mean, the body doesn't have any dents in it. There's not a speck of rust anywhere. You can see I'm a little excited. Well, this is a 83 240D 4-speed. It's a milestone car, the last made in the US. And when this car went out of production in Germany in 1985, I understand they pick it at the factory. This car has been beloved all over the world. And I've often said this may be one of the best cars ever built of all time when you consider all these factors like safety, reliability, economy, ease of maintenance, and so on. We're going to do this rolling restoration. This is an introduction. There's so many things I'm going to replace on this car because I literally want to make it like new. Come up here to the front and look at it, I'm going to change the radiator cap. Well, that's probably the original radiator cap. Like so many of these, you know, the radiator caps need changing. There's going to be things like voltage regulator, brakes, all these little things that get worn out or just are aged because of how old this car is, are all going to be replaced. And every week on a Monday, I'll report back to you. I'm not going to do a video on every single little repair because I've done this over the years on a lot of other diesels. You know, if it weren't for these Mercedes diesels, there wouldn't be a business. Mercedessource would not exist without these old, particularly the W123, the W116, and the W126 diesel Mercedes. They are the heart and soul of the business I created over 20 years ago. So you'll get to follow along as this car comes back to life. I think it's going to live on forever. What many consider the best car ever made, this one will live on forever. So stay tuned for the next episode next Monday.